Hello all you party people! This is my very first video. Let's see how it goes. I have no idea what I'm doing, but we will get through it. I am soldering a spider web today, as you can see. We'll see how it goes. I'm using a soldering iron. I've got my spongy sponge to clean it off. I have my flux that you will see how I use. It is the gel flux. I have my soldering 6040 solder. Canfield, the best. It's super expensive though, which sucks. I've got my gloves, which are very important. And I am putting them on now. So, usually depending on what the thing is, I may use painter's tape to hold my pieces in place so that I can tack solder it together before I start like really putting it together. You'll see what I mean when I start doing it. But this one, I'm able to kind of just do, in my opinion, without having to go through all those taping steps or pinning steps, all that nonsense. Well, it's not nonsense, but it's extra steps, extra work. And the less work, the better. Because stained glass already is a very long process to create something. There are so many steps. It is not as easy as you think. I would have never guessed what it all entailed if I didn't start doing it myself. I have so much respect now for people that do stained glass. You know, I actually just have respect for people that do handmade art, period, because we all know it takes time. And especially with all these Chinese companies now, like Temu and stuff like that, it's really hard to compete. And what's really crappy is that Temu is like stealing people's art and then like making it using their art and then making it like using like cheap supplies and just copying it and then selling it for ridiculously cheap, which is really messed up. At least in my opinion. Alright, I'm sorry guys. I have that done. So, what I'm going to first do before I start soldering is I'm going to use a tip tinner. It's a cleaner. I don't know if you guys can see that. I'm terrible at this. I'll get better, I promise. Anyways, so, yeah. I'm gonna put it in this and just kind of, let it go. Clean your tip off. And then you wipe it. And it's good to go. So, now, next step is to get a little bit of flux and put the flux in the spots that I'm going to be tack soldering so that it stays together. And then I can like really, I can remove stuff. I can just get it way better. I don't know if you guys can hear in the background my dog, but he is like going to town chewing on his toy and making so much noise. He's a nut. My dog's the best. I'm sure you all think your dogs are the best. It's kind of like, you know, kids. We all say our kids are the best. It's the same thing. I'm sorry, guys. I'm really trying to get this in the perfect position so that Obviously, I don't have all these gaps or anything crazy. All right, so I'm just going to start soldering now. And I'm going to take a little bit off and just blob it down. And blob it down. Blob it, blob it, blob it. Good old blobby blob. Anyways, while I'm doing this, there we go. See? Oh, I'm an idiot. I gotta do these sides going down. Now, a sign that you don't have enough solder, like, or flux, is when your, like, solder is, like, lumpy and gets, like, sticky. It's hard to explain. When you do it, you'll know what I'm talking about. You get these, like, little points, almost, like it comes up with your iron. That means you don't really have enough flux. That's usually what that means. There could be a million other reasons. I just didn't put enough flux, or I put it in the wrong spot. I don't know, who knows, but that's why I just went back in and put a little more flux, because my pieces, my solder blobs, were definitely not sticking the way they're supposed to. Also, I am in a ventilated area. I have my window open. I have a fan on. They always recommend that you, like, solder in a really well ventilated area because of the fumes between the flux, which is a chemical, and then you're obviously burning, like, when it hits the flux, it's like burning because of the heat, so you get like these smoky fumes, and those smoky fumes are very dangerous. All right, guys, so I'm just gonna do like one line down, and then I'll let you go, because this is already long enough, and I don't know, it's just gonna be my first one, so my first video. Hope you guys like it. All right, so this is how oh, you know what? I forgot. So when I solder, I like to have my work parallel. So I'm kind of like going like this to left to right, because I'm right-handed. But it doesn't matter how you do it. Everybody does their own thing. Also, I know that you're supposed to feed, everyone tells you the way to solder is to feed the solder to the iron and then drag as you go. I don't know if you guys are seeing this, but yeah, you drag as you go. I don't like doing that. That is not my gig. I don't think it looks great. I'm just not that good at it like that. So what I do is I do little, like, just little blobs. 1 blob, 2, 3. It is more time consuming, so I'm definitely going to look into it. I've been trying to practice doing it where you feed the solder to the iron, because that's the correct way, whatever that means. But it would help with my time, like it would speed up my soldering. So that's why I would like to try to get better at doing what I do, because the blob routine is great, but it takes longer. So once I get like the blobs on, which I'm almost done doing, sorry, boop, boop, all right. Then I go back, and you saw I fluxed, because I like to just, you don't want too much flux though, that's not good either. You kind of just do this, you just go up and down, so you go 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. And so on. And so on. Down the line. And guys, and then, you know, you can kind of clean it up how you want. This way works great. I don't know if other people do it. I know there are people that do it this way. But maybe for like beginners, this is probably the... I'm still a beginner. So this is definitely a good way to get nice solder lines for a beginner that's just, you know, not too great at soldering yet. Because soldering takes practice. It's a lot harder than you think. All this, everything. Alright, so, yeah, that was my soldering video. If you guys have questions or anything like that, let me know. Again, this is my first video. So, bear with me. Give me a like and a follow. Thank you. See you next time. Peace.